It's that time of year. Athlon Sports, anonymous coaches speaking. Holy smokes. Welcome to episode 402 of College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content, and share the video with your family and friends. Let's not waste any more time. We know it's almost June because we see the article, Athlon Sports. Big Ten coaches talk anonymously about the conference foes for 2024. We know June is almost here because Athlon Sports coaches talking anonymously in episode 402. Wednesday morning, May 29th, we're only going to go through half the conference. These conferences are getting so big, we can't fit a whole thing in an episode. We know you are busy this morning, so we're going to only put half of the teams, Big Ten teams, part one. Let's just call it part one, episode 402. And then when Athlon Sports, we're going to go into the SEC and the rest of the other conferences. Coaches talking anonymously about their foes. Man, I love this stuff. I absolutely love this stuff. Big Ten coaches talk anonymously. I'm going to give you my comments. Put down your comments and thoughts in the comments section below the video in order to get an accurate assessment of the teams heading into 2024. Athlon asks coaches in the Big Ten to talk anonymously about their opponents. Note, these scouting reports come directly from coaching staffs and do not necessarily reflect the views of Athlon's editorial staff. Well, I'm going to give you my editorial opinion about what the coaches are saying anonymously. And again, please do as well in the comments section. We're going to go through half the teams here. Illinois. Brett Bielema might not be on the hot seat, but this is definitely a prove-it season for him. It feels like they lost their good momentum with their staff and their roster about 2 seasons back. They lost the great defensive coordinator. He's the head coach of Purdue. Brett built the program back up by finding and developing a lot of local and regional guys instead of swinging and misses in places like Texas and Florida. They've lost some key in-state battles recently that hurt them. I absolutely agree with whatever anonymous coach is saying this about Illinois. The Fighting Illini. The Donovan Leary kid could push Altmaier. That could be a really interesting quarterback battle to watch. This isn't a bad roster at all. But if they have another losing season, the momentum will be gone. A very important season for the Fighting Illini for Brett Bielema here in 2024, Indiana. A lot of positivity coming out of Hoosierland. An anonymous Big Ten coach. There's a lot of talk about the program for the first time since any of us can remember. SIG. Coach Sig is a really good hire. It shows that the school wants to be competitive and respectable in football. They're taking football seriously in NIL too. They brought in a few studs from James Madison, and they've worked the portal well. The competition level in this league is still above them, but they should look more talented, especially on offense. The MAC quarterback, Curtis Rourke, and you guys know I really love Curtis Rourke, Ohio Bobcats quarterback. He's a good one. The anonymous coach says he's pretty solid. If you're setting reasonable year one expectations, I'd look for them to build an offense identity to help recruiting. Iowa. What does a Big Ten anonymous coach say about Iowa? The last few words in this, I think, are pretty telling. Everything here is an automatic except the offense. They are a premier development and depth program at how they scout, build, and develop on defense and special teams. It's just the offensive component. How much is new offensive coordinator Tim Lester really going to affect this program? How much can McNamara, the quarterback, do coming off the injury? Are they going to come out in an 11 personnel on first down? Lester was a 3-receiver, 4-receiver look guy at Western Michigan. This is one of the best tight end programs in the history of the game. I don't think anyone really knows what it's gonna look like, but the idea, and I'll get a load of this PATC money shot of this first part of the Big Ten anonymous coaches that we're gonna go through today in episode 402. I don't think anyone knows what it's gonna look like, but the idea that head coach Kirk Ferentz's son was the sole problem on offense, no way. So the problems, the issues on offense went deeper than just the offensive coordinator. I'm looking at you, the head coach. Kirk Ferentz, I'm looking at you, Maryland. The biggest need is finding a replacement for the quarterback who's been there forever, and it doesn't look like they had one. One guy really step up and do that in the spring. We talked about it. Maryland had a 3-4 quarterback battle. They have a lot of talented individual pieces on both sides of the ball. We've talked about this for Maryland. They look great coming off the bus. Mike Locksley is an elite recruiter, but the knock on the program is that they're missing something to make the whole greater than the sum of it, the parts. I wouldn't bet against that staff in their experience when it comes to personnel, though. I don't think Maryland is going to top the nation in NIL, but that entire staff knows how to recruit, even if they're losing a third of the roster every year. Michigan. The trick for Sharon Moore is to keep the momentum of a national championship culture through all the roster turnover. I think you'll see a lot of the familiar hardball practices and ideas this first season because they've got to rebuild before they can put a new signature on the program. The defense will lead the way for them. That can help them bridge the rebuild on offense. Will defensive coordinator Wink Martindale just rip it up and blitz? That will be interesting to see. Again, Big Ten anonymous coaches spilling the beans and what they think about their foes here on Athlon Sports. Michigan, they're basically turning over the entire offense. And they need to find some receiver talent for whoever wins that starting quarterback at QB. This is going to be a massive transition. Even though they kept on the interim from last year, Coach Moore, they'll take a step back. But maybe not as far as you think. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Michigan State. Jonathan Smith is a great coach. And his offense can really be effective in the Big Ten. But it will be a bumpy transition after the few years that roster have lived through. This is a great staff that does more with less, which is why they were so good at the last place, Oregon State. But I think there's a resistance from some people at Michigan State to go back to that mentality. That mentality of doing from the previous coach, Mark D'Antonio, when it comes to doing more with less. A lot of Michigan State alumnus, Money Perch, others, they don't want to go back to that. They do not want to go back to that. But Jonathan Smith, it looks like, what he did at Oregon State was absolutely brilliant, trying to bring that back to East Lansing. I think they're bracing for a lot of turnover through the portal windows. They brought over the Oregon State quarterback, Aiden Childs, who will probably be their starter. No question about that. The run game was really bad last year. It has been for the last couple of years. They need to put everything they can, getting into some balance for that offense to be successful in year one. This is a big transition year. The culture change from Mel Tucker to Smith is pretty massive, to say the least. And finally, we're going to end part 1, episode 402, my beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers. They're never dull, that's for sure. Again, an anonymous Big Ten coach. I think PJ Fleck chased UCLA and some other jobs pretty hard to get out of there, and it didn't happen for him. We reported before the UCLA job even became open that PJ Fleck was going to have interested in UCLA. UCLA was going to have interested in them. The reason we believe it did not happen is because UCLA just didn't have the cash to build the staff that PJ wanted, to give what PJ wanted when it comes to everything. PJ Fleck stays at Minnesota. That's good news for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The transfer quarterback from FCS, Max Brosmere, could be a really exciting player in that offensive system. He's already a captain for them, so they really believe he can be a game changer for their offense. The new defensive coordinator, Corey Heatherman, is known for a big attacking scheme from when he was the FCS coordinator at James Madison. It will be interesting to see how that translates to this league. Minnesota doesn't have that kind of personnel that can allow you to blitz like that. And unfortunately, I agree with that assessment as well. I agree with a lot of this anonymous talk. Whoever this coach is in the Big Ten, talking about his foes anonymously, I agree with that coach. Pretty much all of this. Michigan, heavy transition year. They're going to be good, though. They're going to be good. They're going to take a step back. No question about it. Michigan State, big, dramatic, massive cultural change, personnel change. Michigan State lost a lot of guys in the portal on the defensive side of the ball. We don't know if they're going to be able to run a lick. Aiden Childs, first-year starter, quarterback. Jonathan Smith, they're going to need to give him time at Michigan State. Maryland, again, looks great coming off the bus, but can they get it done? And who's going to be their QB1? It's all up in the air for Mike Locksley. He's got some talent on that team. No question about it. Signetti, Coach Sig from Indiana. So much positive vibes, so much positive waves coming out of Indiana. It's fun to watch. The Hoosier fans are all ready to go for 2024. Minnesota Golden Gophers, PJ Fleck almost left us, but we kept them. And I think, like last year, I had Minnesota taking a couple steps back. This year, I've got them taking a couple steps forward. Max Brosmere, he's the real deal, Holyfield. Minnesota they've got grown men on the defensive, offensive line. They finally got some thoroughbreds back in the secondary. Minnesota Golden Gophers, I think they're going to go way over the win total that they're putting up in Vegas. How dare they? How dare they in Vegas have Minnesota 4.5 wins win total? Holy smokes. Put down your comments and thoughts in the comments section below the video. What do you think about this anonymous coach spilling the beans on the foes in the Big Ten Conference? We're going to be doing part 2 in the next episode, and then we're going to be hitting the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, Athlon Sports, anonymous coaches talk. Yeah, we're getting into June, baby. We are getting into June. We are below the 100-day number going into the 2024 football season, and it's going to be the most fascinating college football season in my lifetime and probably your lifetime. Buckle up, brace for impact. Until next time, from all of us at College Football's Peek Around the Corner to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.